Greetings and salutations, one and all, and welcome back to the Record Room. I am, of course, your host, Tony Giles, TG, but along with being a host, I'd like to think that I'm also your old pal as well. And on today's episode, as the title suggests, we need to talk about Danzig. And the reason we need to talk about Danzig is, well, quite frankly, there ain't enough Danzig out there. There really isn't. And I'm not talking about, enough content. No. And I'm not talking about this kind of Danzig. See, this is a Danzig demo LP, and this, I actually found this pretty easily. This wasn't hard to find. And it's not like we need to talk about Danzig because I'm not a fan, because I am. This is just a fraction of my Danzig collection. I'm a fan of Glenn Danzig, fan of Misfits, fan of Sam Hain, and fan of the band Danzig, as well as, fan of the man himself. But what we need to talk about today is the Danzig catalogue and its lack of availability. And what I mean by that is, you cannot find the first 5 Danzig albums at all. Haven't been repressed in the longest time. In fact, not even sure if they've ever been repressed. And the only way I've been able to build my Danzig collection is through counterfeit records. And I do not, in any way, shape or form, endorse counterfeits. Bootlegs, I do tend to take a little bit of a less staunch stance, shall we say, when it comes to bootlegs, because most of the time, bootlegs are things that would not come out, demos or live recordings. And yes, sometimes the quality is good, sometimes the quality is bad. I understand all that. You take a chance when you buy a bootleg, but counterfeit records should not exist. The fact that they exist proves that there is a market for this material. And that's the way I'm choosing to look at it. So when I see a counterfeit LP at a record fair or a record store of dubious nature, it just makes me think, well, why isn't this actually in print? And I can tell you now, if the Danzig back catalogue were to come into print today, I would go and buy the first 4. No, I would go and buy the first, well, I'd go and buy 4 Danzig LPs, because this one right here, Danzig 1, this is a legit true blue first pressing. I own a Danzig 1. It is the only official Danzig LP from the original albums that I actually own. And I bought this one. When did I buy this? I may have bought this album 10 years ago. Maybe, no, it was about 10 years ago. I bought this album about 10 years ago. And even back then, at the time, I want to say that I paid probably, I think it was around 40 or 50 pounds, something like that. So it wasn't astronomical as it is now, because this is a triple digit record now. If you want a nice clean copy of Danzig 1, which this is a very nice UK first pressing of Danzig 1, you are going to pay in the triple digits. And that, my friend, is unfortunate, because, these records should not be that expensive. And while I did say UK copy, this is actually made in Holland, but this was the European version. So this is the version that would have been available here at the time. Now, at the time of this coming out, I got to say, I wasn't a Danzig fan. When was this? 89, 90? 88, so I was 10 when this came out. Not a fan of Danzig, probably because I hadn't heard Danzig. If I had have done, I'm sure I would have been a fan. But that's the only one. And over the years, I have looked to purchase other copies, Danzig 2, Danzig 3, Danzig 4, Danzig 5, etc. And they're just price prohibitive. And as much as I love those records, I'm kind of like on the fence, because spending a lot of money online is fine, but you never really know what you're getting, especially when I know that certain albums have been counterfeited so many times. So the reason I'm making this video here is because I was recently on a work trip over in Holland. I spoke about it on this channel. I showed you some pickups. While I was there, I happened to pick up a copy of Danzig 2 Lucifuge. It means shun the light. That was the missing piece in my original Danzig albums collection. And I say original Danzig because I'm talking pre-album 6. Because 6, Danzig 6, Danzig 7, Danzig Circle of Snakes, Danzig Skeletons, Danzig Black Araya 2. You can buy all of these albums. You can either get them on Danzig's website. I think you can probably find them on Amazon. And I know that some record stores have them because that's where I bought my copies. Unfortunately, though, for the first 5 albums, you just cannot find them. And I'm guessing that this is some kind of rights thing. Somebody owns these records. They may not want to reissue them, or they may want to reissue them, but someone in the Danzig camp doesn't want them reissued. I don't know what the situation is. I would love to know. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. But for now, I'm going to have to settle with counterfeit albums. And essentially what these albums are, CDs on vinyl. At least that's what I'm going to say they are. I mean, they might not be, but I would be hard pushed. Sonically, they sound fine. Sonically, they do sound fine. But they don't really sound any different from me listening to a CD or a stream. It's just the novelty, I guess, of having the Danzig vinyl collection on vinyl, even though they're not real. So this one here, as I mentioned, this is Danzig 2. The jacket is okay. It looks like an original jacket-ish. You can tell it's not entirely real. It doesn't look perfect. It doesn't come with a printed inner sleeve like the original one did. And this one is pressed on green marble vinyl, which the original did not come on. It was just on black vinyl as far as I know. And I don't know if you can tell, maybe you need to do the pause and zoom. But the printing on the label on this, side A is okay, but it looks like on side B that the printer may have moved or shifted a little bit. It's not the cleanest print, but beggars can't be choosers. So what do? Do I not have Danzig 2 on vinyl, or I have it on CD? I can stream it. I don't like CDs and I don't like streaming. It cost me maybe 30 euros. So what's that, £25, something like that. It didn't cost a fantastic amount. And to have it on an LP, I chose to do it. I really did. And at the time that I bought my first Danzig counterfeit, I didn't even know it was a counterfeit. It was this one here. It was Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. And the reason I didn't know this was a counterfeit is because I bought it in an actual record shop. I bought this in a record store in, where was it? Where was it? Austin? Texas? Somewhere like that, maybe? I don't know. I saw this and was just blown away because there's a sticker on the cover. Or there's a sticker on the sleeve that it comes with. And I looked at the jacket and was like, whoa, that looks pretty cool. You know, it's virtually, it's hard to tell from the jacket. They did a really, really good job. It's nice and glossy, making this version of How the Gods Kill look like an original version of How the Gods Kill, or how it should look. But I looked at the record itself, and again, it does look fine. But when you go and you look at the matrix, well, the matrix doesn't look perfect. And then I looked a little bit more into it, and I looked online, and yeah, it's a counterfeit. But when you're standing in a record shop, I just thought I'd lucked out and found a copy of Danzig 3 for like, I don't know what it was, $30, $40, something like that. I thought, well, this is amazing. And again, I bought this close to 8 years ago, something like that. So it was just like, wow, I found a copy of Danzig 3 in a record store. How amazing is that? And then once I'd come round to the fact that I owned a bootleg copy of, or so to say, counterfeit copy of Danzig 3, well, I had one and I had 3, but one of my favorite Danzig albums is actually Danzig 4. I think that's, I'm not going to say it's his best album, but it's definitely a good one. And this is nigh on impossible to find. It really is. But then I saw someone had posted a copy on Instagram. And I reached out to the guy and I was like, is that real? Have you found a copy of Danzig 4? And he was like straight up about it. He was like, no, I know for a fact this is a counterfeit, but it's a really good one. And this one comes with the, it had the original Danzig 4 sticker on the hype. They've even done the spot gloss on the cover for this one. There is the spot gloss which I think you can probably see it. It is so well done. The jacket is so nice. It's got that kind of matte finish to it. It's really beautiful. Even comes with the original in a book with the notes. So, you know, as far as boots or counterfeits go, this one is just, this is what I would want from an official release. And if you look at the record itself, I mean, it looks nigh on fantastic, but it isn't official. It is not official. But the fact that I found a record store selling this, and it wasn't long before they had either sold out or pulled it down because of, you know, threats or whatever it was. But it just tells you that there is a market out there for this stuff. The fact that I have 4 counterfeits out of the first 5 Danzig album should tell you something. It tells me they need to reissue and repress the first bunch of Danzig albums. And then recently, just last year, I was on a trip to Paris with Mrs. Giles. And I walked into a store and I found Danzig 5, Black Acid Evil. Now, this is this is a divisive album. This is, Danzig started to go a bit industrial after Danzig 4. Some people are some people are fans. I am not particularly a big fan of this this era in the Danzig oeuvre. But, you know, I'm not going to hate on it either because, you know, the band at the time was great. It was a really good band. I still think the songs are pretty good. His voice at the time was still sounded pretty great. This originally came out in the year 2000, so no reason why this can't have a 25th anniversary next year. But then, you know, out of nowhere, we got Danzig 6 was announced. And then there was Danzig 7. And I was like, what? Wait a second, hang on. 6 and 7 and Circle of Snakes are coming out. Sorry, that's Circle of Snakes, not 7. What about the first 5? What is it about the first 5 that we're not getting? Because number 5 was on the label Evil Live, which is Danzig's label, and those are the guys that are releasing Satan's Child, 7, Circle of Snakes. And essentially releasing everything now. It seems to be that he's in control of those albums, or someone is in control of those albums that wants them back out there in the world. Well, what I say is, what about the first 5? Or even the first 4? Let's do Danzig 1 to 4. Let's make it a nice box set. Let's make it nice and elaborate. Maybe throw in, if I can get it here, The Lost Tracks of Danzig, because this double LP is absolutely incredible. This album is superb. Tons and tons of bonus content that as a Danzig fan you might not be aware of, but this is like an essential thing to have if you are a fan of Danzig. So there you go. I do not endorse counterfeit records in any way, shape or form. I just don't. But it does show that there is a need for this material out there. If I am buying it, other people are buying it. I've seen other people with these records as well. And how do these counterfeits sound? Well, they sound like CDs on vinyl, which is not the best, I understand that, but I'm a record collector. I want to have things on vinyl, and so that's why I bought those records. Now, would I buy them if they were officially released? Absolutely, in a heartbeat. Give me a deluxe edition, give me some bonus tracks, give me some, I don't know, a Danzig pendant, give me a comic book, give me anything. I would be there like a shot purchasing a Danzig collection. I mean, we have the amazing Sam Hain CD box set, we have the amazing Misfits CD box set. Do we have a Danzig CD box set? No, we don't, my friends. What about Danzig? Danzig just needs a hug, as Sugar Ray once said. But there you go, guys. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you a Danzig fan? Do you own any of these counterfeit LPs? Do you own any counterfeit LPs in general? Would you repurchase them should they become available again? I am interested to know. I think this is a conversation worth having. But, you know, Until next time, stay gold, spin those blackest circles, and remember, your old pal TG loves you.